Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 44-year-old from Campbell River, British Columbia. They got him at 6'2" and 205 pounds. Not sure if that's been updated since the 80s, folks. He's a 7th round draft pick in 96 to the New Jersey Devils. His hockey journey took him to Canada, the USA, England, Germany, and he played 17 years in Denmark. He's the SJHL champion with the Melfort Mustangs. He was a CCHL rookie team and was actually the rookie of the year in 96 for the Western Michigan Broncos. In 06-07, he had an out-of-body experience and scored double-digit goals to lead the Danish league in defenseman goals with 11. Three-time Danish Pokal champion and got the Pokal Finals MVP one time and 5-time gold helmet list as a Danish champion and is also known as Mr. Denmark. Welcome to the podcast, Daryl Andrews.
Thanks, Wally. Appreciate you having me.
Buddy, it's been a long time other than our FaceTimes. We've still stayed in contact. I think you're pretty well the only guy from Denmark that I literally have FaceTimed with since I left.
I was trying to think how we got in touch, but somehow we did. And then we've had a couple of positive adult conversations over FaceTime and a few texts here and there.
Yeah, some funny photos you have on your phone too that you send me. There's some good stuff going back and forth, and it's great to stay in contact with hockey guys because when you just lose touch, it's hard to rekindle it until you start a podcast. But this is how we know each other. We played in Sonderjyske, and we won gold helmets together, right?
We sure did, yeah.
So in Denmark, you win a gold helmet, eh?
Yeah, you win a gold helmet. That's kind of like everyone's little trophy, right?
Yeah, I have a gold helmet. I guess you have a box full, but we'll get into that. The other way we know each other, I wrote FaceTimes, but then we both attended the Western Michigan Broncos just at, I guess we were different eras.
So what was I, 2 years ahead of you, I guess, because I actually asked Mr. Brett Mills today. And he played a 5th year, and I thought he played with you, but he said no, he skated with you in the summer when he was trying to play for the Mobile Mystics.
Oh, yeah. No, I never played with him, but basically, if you could put this together, I've been in contact with the fellow that was a senior, and when he was a freshman, you were a senior, and that would be Dave Couz.
Oh, Mr. Couz, I actually got to play with him again after Western in Sheffield. I helped get him there.
That's actually on the notes, and I got a couple questions for you about a game you played there. But you're all healed up from your side-by-side accident?
Well, that was a bad adult decision a few months ago, but yeah, I'm good now. It's not very enjoyable to break your shoulder and dislocate it and when you're 44, right? Well, but boys will be boys, and we will drink beer occasionally and make bad decisions.
Those things can happen. I'm glad you're okay. Glad it wasn't worse. Shoulders heal, I guess, just not that good at 44, but and the other reason why I wrote down how we know each other was, I guess, we didn't get to actually hang out much, which is funny how we still talk. And we both wanted to hang out together and we both could tell there was something there. But I had Colby was 1 year old. Zoe was not born yet. And I was too busy or I didn't really get to go out with you. And you lived in a different town than me in Denmark.
Yeah, I had a nice setup there in Hatterslev. But do you remember coming into Sonderjyske the first day? I took you to dinner at the Hotel Voyens and you brought Colby along.
Yeah, I do remember that meal. Nice meal there.
I lived in that hotel one full year, actually.
You lived in that little hotel for a whole year?
Yeah, for a whole year, yeah.
That's on the second or third roundabout in town.
Yeah, this first, second one, yeah.
There's only 3 roundabouts in this town, folks. Just for the listeners that are trying to understand, this little town has an NHL rink and 3 roundabouts.
Yeah.
That's it. And a grocery store, right? 2 grocery stores and a lot of cake stores.
Yeah, exactly. Coffee and cake.
Yeah, I got into it. I don't mind a good cafe and kuchen, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then the only other thing I wrote down was that you were probably the guy that pissed me off the most in practices, because I was the guy that always got excited about doing 2-on-1s in practice. And your gigantic feet and how big you were and how long your stick was and like just how good you were at defense. Like literally, you were the guy that pissed me off the most in practice in my career.
In your career. Well, I take that as a compliment then, I guess, right?
It is. It's a podcast. It's the only time I'm going to be nice to you.
All right.
Okay. Random question then. This is about Couz here. I'd like to hear about your experience playing in the third place game for the Sheffield Steelers in the UK League.
Couz actually put the Steeler mascot on and took warm up in it.
Like Steeler Dan, I believe he's called.
Yeah, Steeler Dan. Yeah, Couz wore the mascot. And then who did we play? I think we played Cardiff, actually. I don't know who we played, but it might have been Cardiff and or Belfast. And the night before we stayed out, we were all staying at the same hotel. It was in Nottingham till like 4 o'clock in the morning, and showed up. I played forward. Couz, we took warm up both teams together, and I don't know if they have the third place game anymore in Britain.
They do. No, they still make them do it. Yeah. Hey, by the way, this is a navigating lieutenant, folks.
Yeah, I think Couz wore Steeler Dan, at least the Steeler Dan head for parts of warm up.
Like the head?
Yeah, the head. Not the whole costume. He had his gear on, but he wore the head for a while.
And he told me that your best player just straight up didn't come because his brothers get married or something. So Couz wore the Steelers head and that guy's jersey.
Oh yeah, Mark Dudium, yeah, because he just canned us because we're in the third place game. But I remember like some of the British media and a few of the I don't know around the league were not too happy because I think we took our medals and passed them over to the boards to the fan section, right? I think we won the game and we gave the medals away.
Like seriously though, the way that league makes those guys do that game, and it's just like fans come and watch it, and then like to know how crushed those guys are. Like, so when I was in Cardiff, I watched a game where they made Cardiff not go out and not drink because they had blown the semifinals 6-0. So they didn't go out, and the other team embraced the third place game for what it is, and whew, she was something else.
Yeah, I guess because I did do a decade in Europe, that I understand from a fan or ownership side that you want to see the team get the bronze or the third place, but as a player,
You don't care about third place.
I guess maybe it's because we're North American or something, but we grow up like you're not going to see now, Vegas play the loser of tonight's game, right, for third place.
No, you're not, and none of them would want to or would.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you play to win, and you did that a lot there, eh? Like, my goodness. Curious question. Where do you keep you have 5 gold helmets. Where would you keep those? I thought there was going to be a lovely background for the pod with like all 5 helmets and you were wearing one. I should have worn my gold helmet for this. God damn it.
Now I do have 2 here, and people ask what they are because no one really knows. And there's 3 on Vancouver Island at Fuchse house. So yeah, I had one on top of the fridge actually in the helmet box from a store called Michael's, the craft store. Like it was actually a basketball box. So
you got it like nicely decorated.
I just had it on top of the fridge, and it's more of a novelty when the boys come over and have a few adult beverages. They pull it out and wear it around, right?
Yeah, right now Colby's been biking around the neighborhood in it, and we've played a few mini hockey games for it. So that's about what I'll yeah.
Yeah. No, they scratch easy.
They do say on them, not for real play.
Yeah.
But it is cool you win them because I actually, just speaking of, it is two ales and hockey tales, right? So this is my tale. After we win in Denmark, we'll get to that year, but you won so many times, maybe I won't come up again. Um, is when we won and you get gold helmets, and like I hadn't gone out much that year because Colby was really little, and to go to the bars, I didn't really know well. I knew exactly where all of you guys were because we were all wearing gold helmets.
Yeah, there's a lot of free cocktails involved when you have the gold helmet on.
Yeah, if you hit town in a gold helmet, you don't pay for much, do you?
No.
Mm. So the next morning there, when I got home about 7 a.m., here's my tale. Lisa and Colby were waking up for the day, and I had a gold helmet, so I felt it like I had a hall pass. Um, cr- crushed a plate of nachos, and took the dog and Colby for a walk with the gold helmet on in the morning. Cruised around town with a gold helmet on at like 8 a.m. All three roundabouts, I think I hit.
Yeah, you must have had a good time too at the big banquet we had too always after, right?
Oh, when we went and met the mayor and everything.
Yeah, there was always a big party after there too with the dinner and all that.
Yeah, no, it was fun, man. That was an awesome time winning there. Like winning everywhere is awesome, but no, that was really fun. And the gold helmets really kick her into high gear, don't they?
Oh, they kick it into high gear, yeah. To be honest, that's really the only place I won.
Yeah, I know. No, you won for the Melfort Mustangs.
So that was the best hockey team I ever played on in junior. I think that year 12 of us went to the States, and we had under 10 losses the whole year. And we never lost the playoff game until the Royal Bank Cup. We lost the final.
Really?
Really, yeah.
What type of play? Like, so who were any studs on that?
Well, Willie made it. Willie Mitchell. Curtis Dole would have made it. He would left. He went to St. Cloud and left after 2 years. Signed with San Jose, and then had a few concussions. He only played a year and a half in the American League. But we had a loaded team. Our top scorer ended up, I don't know, he's probably one of the all-time top scorers in the Central Hockey League, Jason Duda. But since COVID and all the lockdowns, we actually had a team reunion. There was only 3 guys that didn't partake in it, including the GM and the coach, and it was pretty fun. But that was a legit like team for junior level, right?
No, man, like you're giving me the chills because literally during COVID here, I had a 20-year anniversary for winning in junior with my Elmira Kings from my hometown. We
Oh,
won
nice.
the Sutherland Cup, and literally everybody was on the call. We had guys in Indonesia on the call. They were all over the place nowadays, and to see everybody was the exact same, eh?
Yeah, it was good to see everyone for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how yeah. Anyways, it would be nice if every single guy could come on. We were missing a couple, but it is cool that like you have those experiences, and winning does that, right? If you don't win, do you think that Zoom call happens?
No, no, for
No.
sure.
Yeah. Okay. So anyways, question, where and what are you doing now?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta. I've been here in the summer since 2000, since I left Western basically. And I work in predominantly the oil and gas industry.
Okay. And you said you would start going there in the summers when you're at Western. Why would you go there?
No,
Why what
after Western, I started coming here.
Oh, okay. So when you were like a pro and you had money, that's where you'd go in the summer?
Yeah, because there was, I don't know, 250 hockey guys here training and doing all that fun stuff. So
All that fun stuff, eh?
yeah, I'd come here, and I don't know, 10 or 11 years ago, I built a house here because I knew the day was coming when hockey was over, and I knew, well, I was hopeful that I could get a job here.
Oh, that's great, man. That's great to hear. I knew that you landed on your feet because you ended right when I left Sonderjyske. Um, that was your last year, right? And I know because we were still in contact that you got a job right out of the hoop, eh? You were good.
No, I was looking to go play again, but it didn't work out. So I was retired fully until November of the next year. And then I started working at the company I'm with now. It's a big structural steel and metal building company for the oil and gas industry. So I was fortunate to land a job with a solid company in the industry here.
That's awesome, man. It's everybody getting out of hockey. It's tough, but good to hear you're doing well, sir. Way to go. Cheers.
Thanks, Wally.
Cheers. And but yeah, Couz said when I put the picture up of you on Instagram, which everybody should follow, that's where I put all the info up is 2 Ales and Hockey Tales on Instagram. But as soon as I put it up, he writes to me, "Is that the donk?"
That's funny.
Is that your nick? Was that your nickname, the donk?
Oh, that was one of them. Yeah, there's been many, but I actually saw Couz, him and his wife, and they only had the first boy. We took the boy to the zoo. I was still playing, and Couz was retired and doing his medical thing, but he was out here, and that Mills keeps in touch with everyone. So I actually went and picked up Jackie and Couz, and we went to the zoo one day when Mills was going to work. So
Okay.
that was probably because how old's his oldest? He was just a baby, about 10 or 11.
Honestly, I haven't seen Couz forever. Like I haven't seen him. He was the guy that like called me and convinced me to go to Germany. Because one of his best buddies, Brandon Dietrich, they needed a guy to play with him, and he was one that called me and convinced me. And I haven't actually seen him, but I know he's got like a bunch of kids, and he's in Toronto now. Yeah, he needs to come on. He's a real dandy. He really taught me, how to be a college hockey player. When I was a freshman and he was a senior, I lived with him for a summer. Like he taught me a lot. Even the puck and ball tournament that we played in, where you play 3 games of slow pitch and 3 games of hockey, and you just give earth the whole time. He really taught me a lot.
Oh, he's a good guy for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on is tell me the story then about minor hockey to the Notre Dame Hounds, whatever that is.
Oh, minor hockey.
Don't look at your screen. Just feel it, man. Just feel the flow.
Oh, Dean from
And that's not on elite prospects.
I begged and begged to go to Notre Dame because Rod Brundamore was ahead of me, and there's a few other guys from Campbell River that went there. And I don't know, in Bantam, I just wanted to play hockey, so I had to beg my parents. And I got in, and my mom drove me there, 24 hours from Vancouver Island, and dropped me off at this Catholic boarding school and bawled her eyes out all the way back to Moose Jaw, which isn't that far. I can't let you go away in grade 10, but no, I had a great time at Notre Dame. I got to play a year of Bantam, a year of midget, and then I was going to go play in Swift Current, actually. And again, my parents convinced me to go finish grade 12 before I went to Swift Current. And in grade 12, I ended up playing in the SJHL. I thought I was going to play midget, but started talking to universities, knew nothing about it. And then ended up going on a couple visits and leaving and getting to the States and not doing the Western Hockey League.
Well, can I ask you, like, because I never went to school just to play hockey, and I stayed at home till college. So what's that like then as a young buck? Like you move home, like everybody's different. There probably were some kids that like had their favorite pillow and missed mom, and then you probably didn't. You were fine, right?
No, yeah, I was fine. I wanted to be there. There was a bunch of players that wanted to be there, and I actually still keep in touch with a bunch of them. And we wanted to be there. There's actually kids that were sent there to try and get help because there are problem childs at home, right? Because it's a full dormitory. You can't leave. You can't have a vehicle, any of that, right? If you want to leave, your parents have to come get you. And at that time, it was about discipline. There's no janitors. There's no housekeeping, anything. So the students clean the toilets, clean the classrooms.
And then it's like a hockey place. Is it a hockey
Yeah,
place?
it's predominantly hockey. They have all sports. I don't know, at the time there's probably 450 students from grade 9 to 12. And it's like a little university, but just for high school.
So Rod the Bod went there, and then you wanted to go there.
Yeah, a lot of kids from Campbell River, though, like that I grew up with. A bunch of us went at the same time, actually. There was probably 7 or 8 of us
Is it
all from there.
co-ed?
Yeah, it's co-ed. Yeah, the girls have their own dorm, and then there's two guys' dorms.
Okay.
And then
You better have
right,
been staying in your own dorm, Daryl.
yeah, you're actually not allowed in the girls' dorms and vice versa. So no, it was good though. I love that experience. Notre Dame, I'll never say anything bad about it. It's
So
definitely
it
taught
was
me
kind of
discipline.
school and then hockey at night or in the morning or both. Like it was a lot of
Oh,
hockey.
after school, right? Because you got Bantam and midget, and then there's junior A, junior B. So I mean, the junior team would practice in the afternoon, and then the rest of the teams would practice from 3 to 10:30 type thing.
Oh, so there's that many teams. I don't know anything about it. So there's like 4 teams there.
No. There's Bantam, AAA, and a couple AA, and then single A, and it's all structured.
I don't know anything about it, but that sounds interesting. Okay. So moving on, you go from there then, but you win it with that team we talked about, and then you're going to go to Swift Current. But now we're going to get into Western Michigan University, eh? So why Western Michigan?
To be honest with you, I had no knowledge on universities. I had a couple visits lined up, and I did go to Ferris and visited Ferris State. And then
That
the very,
that's a tough campus too, though.
yeah,
Like
I had a guy that I knew there, so I wanted to go check it out. Brett Colburn, he was actually at Notre Dame. He was older than me, but I went and had a good time and a good visit. And then, I carried on to Western, my second visit, and actually committed and canceled the other visits I had.
well,
And
Western Michigan, when you go there on a visit, man, like it was an awesome 4 years for me. I just wish we were better at hockey.
yeah, I have the same feeling. I have to. I don't know. I just got convinced to commit because I was supposed to go check out a couple other schools. I just canceled them, and Western was okay like that year too. And I mean, I knew nothing about college hockey either, right? So I didn't know who was good or bad or what anything was going to be like. So
I didn't either. You're right. No. So when you get there, then I got a few questions here. You had a different coach, right? Like you didn't have Colhane that I had. You had the guy before him.
yeah, Bill Wilkinson. Yeah,
Okay.
Jimmy was the assistant.
Okay. Um, so when you go to school, is there any email?
Just getting started. Yeah, the email just getting started.
Yeah. So like there weren't
First
any
first email I ever had was .wmu.edu.
beauty. I had one of those at one point. So
I,
yeah, so there's no online courses at that point. You were pretty much pad and paper.
well, I signed up for the business program and went to my first class, and it was in an auditorium. And I didn't know really what email was, so I went back to the student athlete academic advisors and just was a little intimidated with the schooling portion of it. So they I was in open studies for the first 2 years, and then worked my way up to health, physical education, and recreation management.
That sounds good.
My last 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, no, that so okay, here's some questions for me. Did the tap room exist?
Tap room existed, I think, my second last year, and the
At,
firehouse.
at the firehouse too?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, those were the two. Those were like so the firehouse became our mainstay my last 2 years, but the first 2 years was the tap room.
Tap
And then
room,
it
yeah.
got new ownership and the new people didn't care if you played hockey. But man, when I first got there and on my like recruiting trip and stuff, like when you could go to the tap room and like for me, like I had to take recruits out and like I could get a 17-year-old in there and he would have a time.
I bet, yeah. No, my first couple of years it was big at Waldo's.
Oh, the cheap pitchers of hard booze too. That's
Yeah,
Thursday nights, wasn't it? Captain
I
Ronnie.
yeah the campus tavern, that was a big place, and then the firehouse came and it just exploded, right?
That was a cool spot. So, folks, in case you don't know, the firehouse burnt down and they rebuilt it as a bar, and it was called the Firehouse. And it was a hot spot at in Kalamazoo, Michigan, right?
Actually, there was another place on Stadium Drive though that held like 1,500 people, and it was the number one.
Wayside.
Wayside. That was the biggest place.
I never really went there. It's too big for me. I'm not that type of guy. I'm more small.
Yeah, and half of it was kind of a club, and half of it was a sports bar type.
Yeah, that place was too big for me from Elmira.
Yeah, you like the smaller places, eh?
I'm tap room all the way. I guess it's like Sonderjyske, right? The bars in Voyance.
There you go.
Okay, more questions about Western Michigan is, did you guys play Schnarps on the bus or Tetris?
Who told you that?
I got a big network, man. A big network.
I played Tetris on every bus trip.
On Game Boy?
Yeah.
Did you play against people? Like, were you hooked up with the USBs?
No.
Just trying to just seeing to get the high score.
Oh yeah, just me against me.
That's what you did every bus trip?
Pretty much, I think, yeah. A
So
lot of bus trips, I don't even really, it's been so long, I don't remember too much about bus trips. I went to Western too. I never had a vehicle the whole time, but I had a good network of people. As long as I threw $5 in their car, I always typically had a car, but I was always bumming rides with everyone. And I don't know, I made it through, right?
oh yeah, no man. It's so long ago. It's hard to remember like how much fun it was, like just being.
I spent a full spring semester too. After my freshman year, I actually copied someone's paper and submitted it through Brett Mills, and he gave it to some track guy because he knew he was a networker. He knew everyone. So he gave me his old floppy disk. I just hit print on an Abraham Lincoln 30-page paper for like an entry-level American history. Hit print, hand in 30 pages, put my name on it, and get called in. This is plagiarism. I'm like, no, it's not. And they're like, yeah, it is. So-and-so, some guy from the track team has the exact same paper as you. He says you stole his bag and copied all his work. And I'm like, I'll tell the truth because I really don't care. I got to get Brett Mills here though. So I called Mills and Mills was like, yeah, I gave it to them both. So automatic fail. And I only took the bare minimum of credits. So I wasn't going to be able to play my second year. So I actually took a class at Kalamazoo Valley Community College just to stay eligible.
Well, you'd have to do that. Millsy,
Yeah.
and you're still buddies with him after that.
I see Mills at least twice a month.
And he did that to you with the track guy.
He did that to me with the track guy. Yeah, it never comes up anymore.
Well, it just did, Millsy. Okay. My other question is, because my research team is so hot and heavy here beforehand, is you were the rookie of the year in the CCHA. You are not the first Western Michigan Bronco on the pod to do that. That also is Pat Dwyer. It's just saying, a lot of superstars on my podcast. So you're the rookie of the year in the CCHA. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that year when we had a half decent team, and I don't know how or what, but whatever the training camp was like, they put me with a defenseman who was in his second year, Mr. Joe Corvo, who ended up playing, I think, 400 games in the NHL. He played a lot. And yeah, he was my D partner. So I think he was on the like all-world junior team for Team USA that year.
And he was a sophomore and you were a freshman?
He was a sophomore. I was a freshman. He was a lot better than me. And we had a good power play.
But I could see that working, man. Like the way you played defense in Denmark against those poor little Danish boys.
And if you're playing good as a freshman too, they just kind of let you do whatever you want, right? There was no pressure. I'd make mistakes, and Colleen would keep putting me back out there, and things. It was a half decent year. We played Michigan State in the playoffs. We made the playoffs. And then we didn't make it again till my fourth year, but that was a half decent. That was one of my funner college years, that first year.
I could see you being exactly the type of player Colleen would want. You're exactly what he wanted all of us to be.
Man, the only thing I didn't like about college was those practices were so intense.
It was awful, awful. And like you
Yeah,
hated going to the rink. Instead of
yeah.
enjoying going to practice and seeing the boys, you were like, oh my God, we have practice tomorrow.
Now, there were certain days where it was like they'd flood the ice even during the season. You'd have battle days like before and after.
It would like battle days. Like I don't think people understand, like especially the European listeners of this podcast, is we literally would fight each other.
Yeah,
You'd leave practice like you would hurt each other more than like a game 7 of the finals, right?
yeah. My favorite thing about that old Lawson was that steam room in there. We'd jam paper towel in the steamer and heat it up so much just to try and feel better after one of those battle days.
Oh yeah, and it was all with your best buddies, and then you'd all go back to your apartments and have lunch and be like, "Geez, that was quite the thing." And you'd be like, "Well, you punched me," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Oh,
well, you slashed me." And then you'd all eat lunch and be like, "Okay, well, I need a nap."
my class, we had a couple of intense battles where honestly there'd be semesters where teammates wouldn't talk to each other because we just hated each other. You're so dirty to each other.
Yeah, no, the way that culture didn't make any sense to me, and it still doesn't. But I guess hockey's come a long way. I bet you it's
Yeah,
not. I bet you it's not like that anymore.
I couldn't see it being like that anymore. No.
No, it was. I remember getting there, and like all the guys that had been recruited by your coach were all like big, right? So it was Couz was an offensive defenseman. He was a stud, but they like all the other guys were like they put them as our fourth line, but they're all the biggest guys we had. And it was Rosie, Rumble, like they were all beauties. You
Yeah,
remember Brent Rumble? What a dandy
yeah,
that guy was.
yeah. Rosie was a good guy too.
Yeah. But anyways, they were all huge guys. And then they started recruiting guys like me. And then we'd have practices and these guys could just abuse us if they wanted to. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's good.
So from your rookie year though, I did see the next season you put up 3 points.
3 goals.
Sophomore slump?
Yeah, I did. I think coaches might have got word that I wanted to try and turn pro after my first year.
So when did you get
So
drafted by the Devils?
when I was in Melfort, so after my last year junior, I don't know why they actually met with me and said we might pick you late rounds. So they did, and then said good luck at Western. Basically, was it. Well, they called my parents' house. I wasn't even there, and that was I have no draft story. I basically left a voicemail, and they sent a piece of paper in the mail when
That
you're
you were drafted?
when you're picked. Yeah, and then I went to Western, and they actually started talking to me about halfway through the year. So I'm like, maybe there's a chance to kind of get out of Western because I really wasn't into school too much, right? And Mr. Culhane and Wilkinson might have heard a few whispers about that, and New Jersey wasn't ready to get me out, even though I wanted to leave. They basically said, go back and have another good year, and we can talk after your second year. And come second year, I don't think I changed anything, but I just didn't get any ice time for some reason. Being in college, you really have no options. If you leave, you have to sit out here and just be a practice player. So that we had a fun year. We had a horrible team, but we did a lot of extracurricular activities that year. And
Well,
uh,
I had some buddies that went through some similar things with the coaching staff and well, like for myself, my senior year at the start, it was tough and everything, but not get it and then being it can get tough. But
it gets tough, yeah. Then they made a coaching change too. Like Wilkinson was relieved of his duties, and Jim took over, and things kind of went back to normal, so to speak, right?
for
Like
yourself,
for myself, for most of the players too. Corvo quit actually, though. Corvo was so sick of it, he quit Western. I don't know if you knew that.
no, I didn't.
Yeah, he just went to Chicago. He didn't play hockey for a whole year and still ended up making the NHL.
So he just left Western Michigan after like so he has a sophomore year. You're the rookie of the year. He would have had a good year, and
His
he
junior year, he quit.
the year you're not getting ice time too. So who's playing if
Yeah.
you two are sitting on the bench?
It just nothing was working either. And you know what that gets like, right? When they make a coaching change in college. There's one stretch there we lost like 18 games in a row.
Dude, you should have seen this. That was my senior year, or what? I think Colleen might have coached one more year after mine, but no, if you took a penalty or they deemed bad because we were taking too many penalties, the whole team had to skate a suicide for it, and you had to skate a suicide for it, and the whole team stood there and watched. And this would be after the hardest practice you've ever had, where you feel like you're going to puke. And then they would just berate anybody that took a bad penalty the game before. And then everybody would leave the ice so miserable and hate hockey and each other so much. And it was like, geez, I bet we'll win next game.
Yeah, and at that time, college hockey, at least when I played, was who could hit someone harder in the game, and then power plays. Basically, if you had a good power play, your chances of winning were a lot better, right?
Yeah. 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 So where did you live on campus? Just curious. Whereabouts in Kalamazoo were you?
My first year I lived in the Burnhams, co-ed
Everybody did,
dorm.
eh? Yeah.
Yeah, co-ed
Everybody,
dorm.
yeah. So there's the athletes, the girls are on one side and the guys are on one side.
Yeah, and you got the big mess hall downstairs. So I lived there and it was good. And then my second year, we actually they stopped it, and I'm pretty sure they stopped it. We rented a house in what the student ghetto they call it, across Stadium Drive there.
Mhm.
Bunch of rundown houses. We found a 8 bedroom, two kitchen house, and 7 of us hockey guys moved in there, and one non-hockey guy that was buddies with us all. So yeah, the 8 of us, and that was the year we were really bad. So I mean, the hockey and that part of it was bad, but we had a lot of fun that year, and coaches kind of got wind of it, and our house was called the Pink Palace, or Sigma Moose. We wanted to be our own little fraternity, right?
Oh
So,
man.
I
Yeah.
I mean, anyone, like, if you wanted to cook anything, you had to do a dish. There was no dishwashers or anything. Yeah, it was a
A
rough part of
mess.
town. Yeah, it was a rough part of town, and we stacked cases of beer up against the wall. Like, it was a disaster. The house, right? So like, the coaches got wind and made a decision. Like, too many guys in one house. Like, you guys can't be getting any rest. Or so. My third year, I lived right up behind Lawson there, actually a nice street in
That's
a
that's
fort.
where that's where Lafayette.
Yeah, no,
That
no, not that far. Like, literally walk through a trail and you're at the arena.
Yeah, okay. No, I know exactly where you were. That's where the juniors and seniors were living when I went to Western Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, so I lived on that street. The house was great, 2 bedrooms down, two up, and it was easier to keep clean and manage and all that fun stuff. And my last year, I lived with Jeff Lukasak, who was the same class as me. We just had a 2 bedroom apartment, and that was super easy, right?
He was still in Kalamazoo when I was there. He might still live there, eh?
Oh, he lives there, yeah. So by that time, by our fourth year, right, we a lot of the college life was out of our system, and we knew we were both kind of somewhat clean and got along, and it was just the two of us. So, and then there was still a couple houses with 4 guys that we could go over to and have blow off some steam, right?
Oh yeah, you got to blow off steam in college after a game for sure. Okay. So then things get better. Colhane becomes the coach and you sign with the Devils after your senior year. And I'm going, Pete, tell me about that.
Can you still hear me?
Keep talking.
No, that fourth year we played University of Michigan, best of three, and was it Friday, Saturday? I think I signed with New Jersey Sunday as soon as the college season was over.
Did you keep talking?
Yeah, you didn't hear me.
No, I know. Good. That's good. So I'm curious what you said, but we'll keep going. So you're in
No,
Albany. Mind my
I'll, I'll go again. We
No,
played.
no, you're not gonna make me edit stuff. You weren't just quiet, right? You kept talking.
No, I wasn't talking.
Shut up.
Go
You didn't say
ahead.
anything. You just
I
sat
just,
there.
said what I did. I signed after we lost to the University of Michigan, and I went to Albany like 2 days later during the season, my senior year. I quit university.
Okay, and then you just sat there.
Pretty much.
Well, that's fine.
I have nothing else to say.
Hey, people will get the hint. They'll keep listening. So what's it like living in Albany? Like, is that a nice town? You lived there for 4 years, didn't you?
No, so I only played those 9 games. That was the end of the college season, right? Western was done. So I was planning on going to Albany and then going back to Western and finishing up my schooling. So I went to Albany and got a little bit of taste of the American League and played those 9 games. And then we played 5 I was best of 5. We lost to Rochester and went back to Kalamazoo and never went to one class. Just spent 2 months in Kalamazoo hanging out with my classmates and buddies, right?
I know I know when senior year ends, what it's like. It was when that hockey ends and you haven't been normal college students for 4 years. There's some boys that want to blow off some steam, right?
Yeah. So no, I went back and spent 6 weeks or so with classmates and had some fun, and then went to Calgary, right, for the summertime after the spring semester.
Trained hard and had fun too.
Well, yeah, I tried to train hard and have fun. I always try and have a little bit of fun. So,
So in your time with Albany, did you ever feel like you were close to a call up?
Not in Albany, no. Being honest with you, actually, the whole New Jersey system at that time.
Why do you keep looking over there? Look at me. You keep looking over there.
They were winning cups.
I'm over here.
They were winning cups at that time. So I'm sick of looking at you. So for those 3 summers, no, 2 summers, I would go at the end of July to New Jersey, and we would get 2-a-days. They'd work us all out, all the draft picks and signed players. Well, all the signed players, not the junior draft picks, but anyone that had a contract that wasn't playing for the Devils would be in New Jersey 5 or 6 weeks ahead of training camp.
And they would ask you to do that.
They would tell you that's what you're doing, and we'd stay in a hotel before.
And they wouldn't pay you.
You get NHL per diem, but we had some good times. I got lots of good stories about New York City and Jersey Shore and places like that, because we only got Sundays off during this basically signed player mini camp. So 6 weeks together, and then the NHL team would show up and we'd have training camp, right?
So it was like a 6-week rookie camp.
Oh yeah. We wouldn't play any games. It was just like 20, 21 or 22 guys. It was basically anyone that had signed a contract in the Albany River Rats. We'd all be in New Jersey for 5 or 6 weeks. And we'd do all kinds of running and weights and practices and all sorts of stuff.
There'd be unions now that stop that, right? Like they couldn't ask you or make you do that now, right? Nobody would.
I don't know. I actually quite enjoyed it, right? It was fun. We got to.
Oh, when I went to Germany in July, like, and I thought it was going to be awful that I was going to Germany in July. Well, going to Germany in July and being with 5 other imports that can't go anywhere, like when you get a day off, it's as fun as it gets.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, we had lots of fun in the summertime there, and in Albany we never really had a half decent team either. Not that that's any excuse, because I don't really have any excuses from my career, to be honest with you. But Albany is a great city. 500,000 people, capital city of New York.
Is that right? I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's a pretty big city. Yeah, I had a good experience. My last couple of years, I lived in Troy, New York, which is sister city, and they had a basically NHL arena there too. Pepsi Center in Albany at the time it was 18,000.
What plays out of there?
The River Rats and the lacrosse team, and they had lots of concerts and WWE and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I played against the River Rats. Pat Dwyer was playing for them when I played against them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so that was Yeah, I signed a 2-year contract out of Western, and then they gave me another year, and then basically Lou Lamorello said, Daryl, thanks for 3 years. You're not going to cut it here. So I was free, and somehow I managed to trick Florida with a deal and went there for training camp, and then they sent me to San Antonio.
So what happened there? You went to training camp on a tryout?
With Florida, yeah.
And then you
After I
got
was
an
a free agent.
AHL one way or what?
Yeah, yeah. So training camp was okay at Florida, and basically go to San Antonio on a ATO, and then I ended up getting a contract and staying in San Antonio for that year. And that year we had a actually really good hockey team. I think we started out 16-5 or 15-5. We were really good, and then Florida did something. They fired Mike Keenan, took our coach Steve Ludzig, and Ludzig took Baudouin, a couple players, and then we were left with nothing in San Antonio in the last, I don't know, 50 games of the year. I think we might have won 8, but we had the best goalie, even better than Alfie, that I ever played with, Travis Scott. The guy was, we'd get peppered like 40 something shots a game, and he'd only let 2 or 3, and then we'd lose by a goal.
Travis Scott he played in Europe, right?
Yeah, he won in Russia, he won in the DL.
Yeah.
He's an unbelievable goalie.
But just nobody ever gives him the chance, eh? It's weird how that works.
He never got the chance at the NHL. I don't know why, but he might have played a game or two, but yeah, he was so good.
Okay. So then after that year is I believe the lockout season, right?
That's right. And
So
then
that's my senior year in college. That's why I went back.
so I knew that my AHL NHL dream was done that San Antonio year.
You did know? You knew
Oh,
that year?
I knew it was over because I wasn't super tough at all, and I wasn't a scorer. What good was I in the AHL anymore?
Well, in the AHL, if you were your size, you were and a defenseman that didn't score a lot, you were expected probably to fight, right?
Yeah, and there was no way I could have fought some of those guys at that time. Man, they were monsters.
Not a chance you could fight. I mean, I don't know if you can fight, but I've never seen you do it. But like,
no, I knew it was over, right? So it was really hard to the options were very limited that summer, right? Because the NHL
though,
wasn't.
when there's a lockout, it's the worst year for hockey players ever. And like, I don't think any fans that are complaining about not having NHL games understand how much it affects guys that want to make hockey their living for the next 10 years. Like there's guys that never do get a rookie season. They never even get to start.
No, or trying, right? So I knew in I don't know, 300 NHLers and went to Europe. So the options were very limited. I guess I could have went and tried the East Coast League, but somehow the agent at the time, I had a guy named Matt Cater, hooked me up with the folks in Sheffield. And I basically said, sign me up right now.
Would it be David Sims?
Dave Sims was part of it, but I think it was the coach before him was Blaisdell. I never got to meet him, but he coached the team the year before, and then they brought in Rob Stewart when he left from Belfast. So Stewart had something to do with it, and Sheffield had won the year before, and some of the players stayed and some had moved on type thing. And I was just looking for any opportunity to play, and I didn't really want to go to the East Coast League. So I'm like, well, I'll go try this British League for a bit, right, and see how it is. And I actually had a lot of fun that year.
Man.
Sheffield has high expectations every year, and we definitely didn't live up to it, but I got treated super well in Sheffield.
They definitely have high expectations. And the reason I asked David Sims, I was going back and forth with him on Twitter because a fan wants him on the pod. And I would like to have him on because like we had been in contact when it was signed there back in the day, and he's gonna come on. We're gonna get David Sims on. So they say he's the Don Cherry of the UK. So that's
He definitely is. He knows more about. I'd be hard pressed to guess anyone know more about the British League than Dave Sims.
Todd Kelman's going to be up there, but
I know
not
Todd
as
too.
long. Yeah, do you?
Yeah, I know Todd too.
Yeah, and Dan Seaman, you know all the old boys, eh?
Todd was playing in Belfast. Todd's from Calgary. I saw him at Stampede a few years back when he was here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They go back, or they go there like every year and have a Stampede. Yeah.
Stampede, yeah.
So have you been to the Stampede a couple times? So now that's come up.
Well, kind of Stampede's in the budget every year.
Is it? I've never been there. I've heard I'd fit in well. I heard I would have a good time, but I've never got to go.
Yeah, if you could find a cowboy hat to go around your round head of yours there.
Oh God. I've worn cowboy hats before and I think they look just fine on me.
Yeah, you could throw a pair of Daisy Dukes on and cowboy boots and fit right in.
I've had Daisy Dukes on before. If the fans of the pod will know that in Germany, when I won, I cut off my old jeans because you know how fashionable I am. All the boys are making fun of me because of my jeans, so I cut them off as short as I could. And we went downtown for beers, and I had my underwear like hanging out the bottom of the jeans, and they called them my Daisy Dukes. And then we didn't know there was a parade that day, so then I ended up at the parade in my Daisy Dukes.
Nothing wrong with it.
No, you got to live every once in a while, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So your Sheffield experience is positive, and you did get to play with Couz that year, eh?
Couz was playing somewhere else, and I think he was looking for a move, and he ended up coming kind of halfway through the year.
Okay. And that, yeah, he just told me about the third place game, which we talked about, which that's a tough game. But moving on. So you do your Sheffield year, which was the lockout. Lockout eases. So now Daryl's trying to figure out who he is and where he's going. And I can't wait for you to explain where you went. Go for it.
After Sheffield, I actually went to Spain, then back to Sheffield. Then I came to Calgary. And I took a vacation when the season was over after that third place debacle game. And came back to Calgary and then actually flew back to Europe. I flew to Helsinki, got picked up and went to Lahti. The Pelicans had won 7 games out of 56 the year before. This isn't on any of the stat sheets.
This is the research team missed all of this, folks.
Yeah, so I went to Finland for 2 weeks. So I don't know when the season would have ended in Sheffield. Doesn't go that long, but I went to Spain and did some adulting, meaning lots of beers and whatnot, and
having fun.
Came back to Calgary, and it was like I've been here 2 weeks, and I flew all the way back to Finland because they wanted to view me to see if I was a prospect to play in the Finnish league. So went and did.
This is after Spain and after.
Yeah, after the season's been over, it's probably like 3 weeks. I've been home for 2 or 3 weeks, and went all the way back to Finland, and trained for 2 weeks, just practicing because the Finnish guys basically they take a couple of weeks off here and there, right?
And then they just start playing hockey.
Yeah, so went to one of their spring camps, and man, what an experience that was. Swimming, I don't know how many lengths of the pool, and I'm not the best swimmer. And trail running I can do through the forest of Finland along the ski jumps and whatnot. And when I go, okay, we've seen enough. Go home. I was 2 weeks there, right, in and out. And
did they pay you?
They gave me some kind of per diem. They paid for all my flights and everything. I just wanted to play, right? And I just wanted to see where I could fit in. And I was willing to go on a tryout, whatever. So went there, no contract offer, nothing. And now I'm sitting there. What am I going to do?
Was it the swimming?
I don't know if it was. No, it was probably just playing. This guy's got some toe drags and whatnot, and I never toe dragged. I don't think ever.
I don't. But your game isn't to toe drag. Your game is to stop the toe dragging.
Yeah. So no, that was part of the whole hockey career. Anyways, ended up back in Calgary, and I didn't really want to go to Britain because the NHL went back. I'm like, I can try and find something else. So one of my old teammates from Albany had gone at the end of July for that whole Bundesliga DL2 training camp.
The Zweite Bundesliga, yeah.
Yeah, and the Weisswasser, the Lausitzer Fuchses, were looking for like a defensive-ish type defenseman, and Richard Rochefort. I played with him for 2 or 3 years in Albany, and he vouched for me and was like, "Yeah, we got to sign this guy, this and that." And I had no idea. I'm like, "Where are you?" I'm talking to him on the phone. There's no Skype then either, I don't think at the time. He's
No.
like, "Going to the Eastern Bloc of Germany. He's not the best, but Andrea and I are here, and they had a kid." He's like, "Just come, like you'll have fun. There's a couple other good Canadians here." And I'm like, "Oh, let's do it," right? So I ended up signing one of the faxed over contracts. It's like a page and a half long, and off I went to got picked up in Berlin.
Well, I'll just I got a few notes down for the Lausitzer Fuchse and Weisswasser, which, folks, means whitewater in English. And that would make you think this place is beautiful. But you show up and like it is old East Germany and all the buildings look the same and there's not much on them. And you start like realizing, and then you get to the arena and the arena I played in was strange. They apparently they do have a new one now, and good for them. Way to go, guys! But the arena I played in, you would get dressed, and you literally would have to walk. I would say 200 meters, right,
Yeah.
to get to
Yeah,
the
it was
rink.
a long walk. Make sure there's no, watch where you're walking because you're probably going to step on some gravel and might not have an edge when you get out there. But
And the other thing then about that town is that they're like, so in Bavaria, it would be half English, half German. In Weisswasser, you'd say that the fans would be half German, half Russian,
Polish.
Polish.
The Poland border is like 12 kilometers away.
Because well, they didn't know English. Like when I would try and speak with them playing two touch, and they could not speak English.
Yeah. So no, I landed in the beautiful town of Whitewater.
So,
My buddy Rochi.
last question that I have about, because this is one of the first Lausitzer Fuchses on the pod, is did you ever see the rink behind that rink?
Oh yeah, there's an old dugout.
It was like it was like the Coliseum of
Yeah,
ice hockey.
yeah. Not in use for decades, but it's still there.
Apparently it's gone now, and they built the new
It was
rink
like a
there.
hole. It was like a hole in the ground with grass on it at the time. But honestly, like I had zero fun in Whitewater.
I can
No,
imagine.
no offense to any listeners or and the team. We weren't winning, so
I don't think we have any from there, so it's all
yeah,
good.
it was not a pleasant experience. And I asked actually for a release multiple times because, you know, expectations too as an import. Now I've got it figured out. You got to score. And I don't know what I had. Like maybe I had a couple goals and a few assists. And they're like, this guy's got to score. He's an import. This and I'm just like, I'm not happy here. And they wouldn't give me that transfer card. I'm just like, I just want to go out. I want to play somewhere else, or I'm going to quit hockey. I was that like, I had no fun at all. And Rochi was trying to help me. There was another guy on the team, Morgan Warren. They were vouching for me, like, yeah, this guy wants to leave. And I think they thought I was going to go to another second league German team. Or I'm like, I'm not staying in Germany. Like, I had another job lined up at that Sonderjyske in Denmark, and I had no idea what that was like. I just wanted out of Weisswasser, and they wouldn't let me do it. I even took all my team clothes, washed them nicely, and folded them and put them on the manager's desk, and still wouldn't let me leave for that card. So I didn't know what to do anymore. So actually, this is pretty funny. This is true too. You skate around and practice and you shoot pucks at the net and you just do circles. I would just skate around and flip them all out. So practice started. And I'm just trying to make it known, like the whole team, even the German guys. I liked a lot of the German guys were good guys. We ended up going back and playing them in an exhibition game a couple of years later. But so I'm doing anything I can, not being a complete dick, but trying to get out of Dodge, right?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me leave. So the year before, we had this Czech player, and Martin, some super talented toe drags. He had like 70 or something points the year before. So practice, you talked about 2-on-1 drill already. We're in practice and he made a beautiful saucer class pass across, and I did not play any pass. I
You
just
crushed him.
a clean open ice 2-on-1 hit, and the other teammate went in for the breakaway, and poor Martin didn't get up. And I'm like, Germans are mad, and imports are like, told you guys, like he has to leave. So there was a guy named Dirk Robach. He was like a 36 or 7-year-old German, still played a long time in the DL. So he actually went to management, was like, hey, like, he's trying to hurt our own players now. Like, let this guy leave. He's told me he's going to some team in Denmark. Like, we won't see him again. So no, they gave me the transfer card. I actually let them keep, I don't know what it was, a few nickels that I was making. I'm just like, keep the money. I don't even care. I don't need to be paid. I just want to leave, right? So yeah, they let me go. Someone drove me back to Berlin right before Christmas, mid-December. So I was there from early September till December. And I had some fun too. We had a guy named Sean Gagnon who played in the NHL. He was a lot of fun. So him and I hit it off, and Rochi was there. So there was good people there. I just wasn't having fun.
No, I
And
understand.
yeah, so no, flight to Bieland Airport, and I think Inga picked me up and drove me to the hotel in Voyance.
Did you have the same dinner with the old guy on the team when you got there?
Yeah. No. Maybe someone came and picked me up. No, Dan, there was a Swedish guy living in the hotel. So I don't know, what year was that? 2006. Yeah, 2005 still.
So,
Turning
folks, now he's
2006.
in Sonderjyske.
Yeah, so Swedish guys in the hotel, and I showed up, and I think I might have played 1 or 2 games, and that was Christmas break. Dan went home to Sweden, and one of the guys had me over for Christmas dinner, and obviously there was a few ales involved over the holidays, but didn't really know anyone on the team, and I was there alone, and I'm just a guy in the hotel, and had a couple of days off. And I had a car, so I did a little touring around, phoned the folks at home and the sisters and family, and had a Christmas. And then it was like, well, I'm in a new place, new team. Got to try and prove myself again.
And you did
And
that, sir. I could go over some stats, but I don't have them written down. But basically, you won the championship 5 times there. You're the Pokal MVP. You won 3 Danish Pokals. You were the leading goal scorer, defenseman for 1 year. I don't know how that happened.
that was a lucky year. No, that last half of the year, honestly, we had a team that everyone kind of got along. We had I think it was 27 at the time, but we had 2 guys, particular 3, the goalie Greer, Chris Bartolome, Brian Casey, a couple of guys that you could tell they wanted to win. And practices were good, but there was no like craziness like college stuff, or it was just normal hockey. And the coach actually was just like, play defense. That's why we brought you here. I don't care if you score. I don't care this. So
Is that Simone? So who's the coach?
Mario. Yeah, that was Mario, right? So just played defense, and man, we had too long. The power play worked. I never played on it, and whatever. We just had a great team. I killed penalties, and I'm like, this is kind of hockey again. That was, we're having
you had a role. It wasn't just being an import, and all of a sudden you're supposed to score 2 goals a game, right?
Yeah. So good Danish players too. Like, you played with Kim. He was super young at the time, and we played in the worst arena that I ever played in pro in Boyens. It was like a tin shed, undersized ice, but it was perfect for me because I wasn't a skill guy. I played defense, and smaller guys couldn't really get around me too easily.
In that rank, I couldn't imagine playing against you. Like, you would take up that whole quarter of the ice in the ozone.
Oh, it's just basically like, get the puck out of your own end and play defense. And the skill guys, if you made one good move, you'd have to put it on net, right? And either go in or you get a rebound chance. But no, again, and Voyens hadn't won, and we weren't expected to win. And so we just got on kind of a run, right? And ended up winning that year in that old tin shed. I don't think they had won for like 40 years or something in Boyance.
Oh, so you were a part of the first team that won like a
Yeah,
championship, and were you guys called Sonderjyske then, or were you
yeah,
Voyants?
I was just Sonderjyske. Yeah, yeah. So that was my first year there. I only played half the year. So a lot of fun. And I'm like, no, that's a lot more fun than I was having in Germany, right?
Oh, absolutely. You
So
go from Weisswasser to winning a championship in Denmark. I can
yeah,
understand why you stay there so long.
yeah. No, so they brought me back. I'm like, yeah, I'll come back and play for sure.
Well, that's good. So then you stay there for another year, and it's still Mario is the coach. Kim's on the team. Who is Alfie the goalie yet?
No, no, Alfie's not the goalie yet, for sure.
Okay,
No.
so we'll get into him later, but so that year you guys don't win it, and then kind of like in Europe, that's what they do is if they don't win, guys leave. But you don't just leave, you go up, right? You go, don't you? You go to the DL.
Yeah.
So you
If you
have
don't
another
leave,
good year.
no, so I don't leave. I stayed, and I had a really good year. And then the DL came calling because they're like, oh, this guy in Denmark's got all these goals. He led the league in goals. So
So they thought they were signing a PP guy.
I don't know if they thought that. No, it was Crayfeld, right? So I don't think they thought they were signing the PP guy, but I mean, there was an opportunity to go back to Germany to the top league, and the team was a guy that I'd actually gone to Notre Dame in high school with Brian Maloney. I knew he was going there, and wasn't a very hard decision. I'm like, I'm still young enough. I got to go try this DEL. Back to Germany I went after a year and a half away, and
To be honest, though, like you have to go try that because when you go to Europe and you're only there for a couple of years and you do try Weisswasser or the Lausitzer Fuchse, um, you still want to get to those leagues where you're making the real money, like the big money, right?
yeah, so I'm like, I'm gonna go try it. So off I went back south again, and went to Crayfeld training camp, this and that, and lower budget team, great experience, do our thing. We're never great. We weren't horrible. Got to play some really good players. Like Alexander Selivanov was on that team. He scored 40 goals with Doug Waite in Edmonton, right? So,
Well, just so you know, fun fact for the pod, he was a former teammate of mine, played
was
4 games for the Beatingheim Steelers, and then they cut him.
he was a lot of fun though.
Oh, he was an awesome guy. So
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I really enjoyed him. Yeah.
So, well, at this point, I've got Britain, Bundesliga, Denmark, and DL. And the DL team definitely didn't want me back. And I'm like, I've tried it. I think I'm going to try and go back to Denmark. And now I've got a Danish agent. And sure enough, because that one championship we won, the Danish team made me a great offer of a 4-year contract. I think they offered 3 years.
Sorry,
And
what?
yeah. Sonderjyske offered me 3 years. And I think I pushed it and got 4.
Are you serious?
I never played on another team after that. Crayfeld and then Sonderjyske and then
No, I know you never played on another
this.
team, but it was actually a 4-year contract
Yeah, yeah.
in
It was
Europe.
3. Yeah, it was 3 at the start because they
I've
knew
never
me.
even heard of that.
Yeah, so 3, and I got it to 4, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going back there. I don't need to change teams anymore. I got treated really well in Denmark, right? And I mean, I had a relationship with the coach Mario there. The manager treated me awesome. Soren Stockfish, rest his soul, right? But no, I knew everyone. I knew what I was getting. I knew the expectations. I mean,
Yeah, and
they
they
could
know
play.
what they're getting from you, right?
Yeah, because we'd won, and I played another year, and I don't know how I got a bunch of goals one year and then left. And I'm never much of a scorer, but I don't know. I used some kind of weird curve and just kind of put the puck on net, and it would go
Were you on
in.
the so you were first power play that year?
That year. Yeah,
Were you
yeah.
running like an umbrella or what? You're up top taking
I
clap
don't know.
bombs or what?
Honestly, I would just push the puck up and closed my eyes and went in a lot that year, right? Because I never had many scoring years, obviously. But no, went back and that next year went back. We were loaded. We had a great team.
So so Dan Seaman is your captain, and Wynn's Alfie the goalie. Those are my questions. And
okay, so I gotta look this up.
No, don't look it up. Just feel it. Don't look it up. Just feel it. Stop it. Is it the first year when you say you're loaded? Who's on that team? Don't look it up. Stop looking over there.
Well, we had this Swedish guy, Dayon. Kim was really good at this point. No one could catch him. He was so fast. Sammy Nasruddin, Eric Bertrand. Is Alfie goalie yet? I don't know if he was. He might have been goalie. How many gold helmets does Alfie have? 3?
I don't know. I have 1.
I don't know. I have to cheat and look it up.
Okay, never mind.
We didn't have that. Like, we weren't loaded. It was us and Herning. We beat Herning in the finals, I think. There was one year, though, we only lost 4 or 5 games in that Danish league because of a bunch of the teams that went bankrupt.
Oh, that was right around the crisis there when I was in Bietigheim, and everybody loses their money. All the sponsors just don't pay the teams, and everybody's like, the Danish league was basically done, right?
Yeah, I think it was down to 7 or 8 teams at one point, and thankfully, Sonderjyske was always financially set. And Dustin Van Balagui, he was a defenseman that played there for 3 years and moved on to Greener. He went and played in Austria, but he was your prototypical European right-hand shot defenseman, toe drag, last man back, and seemed to always work out. And he had some intensity to him too. But we had a lot of good players year over year, it seemed like, right?
Oh man, like they do great recruiting there. I personally, the way it worked out for me, I don't like their system. I don't like the way they do it. I think it's horseshit. What they do is they bring in 5 imports. They'll bump it up to 8 when it's time, but that's around Christmas. And then all of a sudden, the rest of playoffs, you're in a competition with those new 3 players of who's coming back the next year. Right?
See, I never had to deal with that.
No, because you had a 4-year contract. I was on 1-year contracts my entire career. So the last 4-year deal I had was Western Michigan, buddy.
Yeah. Even my 3rd year, I forget my 3rd last year, I had 1 year left. And can we extend this? Or sure, 2 more years. So that's what took me to the end.
So yeah, so you went from a 4-year deal to a 2-year deal in Europe, because that is uncommon, folks.
But no, I was at a point too where, I wouldn't say I was comfortable, because I think I always worked hard and tried to do my best. And, I mean, I just knew I didn't want to go try anything else, right? I tried it, and I'd been on those tryouts and tried Germany, and like at that level of hockey, it's not top level European hockey. And we always had fun too. I mean, there was good people around the team, and it's never fun when you're losing, but we didn't do too much of that.
No, you sure didn't. That team didn't. Yeah, no, you like, winning's fun. And if you're getting paid what you're happy with, like I was the same in Bietigheim. Like when we were winning and I was making whatever, I was like happy doing it. But not like, once you start losing, you're like, well, this ain't fun anymore.
No. But you brought up Alfie.
Yeah, we got to talk about him, man. So like Alfie is now, I believe, one of the coaches for Maine, right?
So I keep in touch with Alfie.
Oh, do you? I tried to get him on the pod. He ghosted me, I believe is what the word is.
Alfie's a buddy of mine. Alfie stayed in this house. Alfie is assistant coach for University of Maine. So when he comes out recruiting, he spent a full week here before COVID came into the world. And I actually helped Alfie recruit. I like confusing him because he gives me an iPad and I get to go to the Okotoks Oilers or the Junior A in Alberta here. He's like, I really like this player. I'm like, I'm not sure. I like this player a little better. And he's like, man, now the other assistant coach has to make another trip out before we make an official offer. But Alfie's he's done well. Yeah, he's coaching, but I knew Alfie when I was 18 in Melfort, actually. So Alfie was playing on a junior team in Saskatchewan called the LeBret Eagles. And we got to pick up a third goalie for the tournament. And Alfie was going to University of Maine. I was going to Western. So we picked Alfie up as our third stringer before he went to Maine. Because Alfie's only a year older than me. So Alfie practiced with us. He didn't play any games in that. We picked him up for the Royal Bank Cup. So we kind of knew each other. And then he showed up at Sonderjyske, and yeah, I don't know. Him and I just kind of got each other because definitely a student of the game. And I'd be like, okay, I'll do this on the penalty kill. And we just try and prevent goals. And I was pretty much one of the only guys that could talk to him on game day because he was that focused and determined at his craft, right?
No, and he was. I hadn't met anybody like it, and I had been in the second league in Germany. Hadn't really been around the top end of the game in a while, and then I got to Sonderjyske, and Alfie was literally. I sat beside him that year. Like they put me beside him to see what he was doing, and he literally had like a pad of paper, and he would be writing out like where everybody stood on the other power play, what their tendencies were. He would have everything written out. He's like, this guy likes to go low blocker from here. This guy likes to go here from here. He was so far ahead of the game. And I was like, I just want to go out and play.
Yeah, no, Alfie, yeah, he wanted to stop the puck and he knew what he was doing in preventing goals. So I don't know. I love Alfie as a person and his family. His wife Addie was almost like my second wife. I don't know how many meals she cooked for me in
Well, and
Denmark.
they had the frosted flake chicken or whatever it was. What was it? Cornflake chicken.
Yeah, Addie's got a lot of recipes for sure.
A lot of
So
tricks.
no, I keep in touch with Alfie. And he'll be coming back here soon, I'm sure, to recruit, right? He pulls a couple kids out of the Alberta or BC league, and last time he based his recruiting trip out of Calgary. So he came here.
Well, hopefully next time he comes visits you, you can corner him and be like, "Hey, let's do a pod with Wally real quick."
Well, yeah, I'll give him a nudge, try and get him on with you. He's so focused too on his recruiting and coaching now too. I mean, and raising.
He's so detailed in everything he does, right? Like that's what he'd be like, right?
Yeah. So I'd go to work and he's studying film here all day and ready for the game at night type thing, right? 6 junior games in a week type thing, and then he'd be back on the plane to Vancouver or somewhere.
Oh man, he was the most impressive pro I think I played with for his details. But when you say you were the only one that could talk to him on a game day, it was because like I know when I was playing the games, like you knew where your stick was where the positioning would be, where you're going to let this shot from here, but you're not going to let it from here. Yeah. And if you try to talk to the young Danish kids about all that, they're going to be like, what are you talking about? Right. Yeah. That's basically why Alfie would talk to you and not them.
Yeah, no, Alfie. Yeah, he's doing good for sure. And he's a big reason a lot of those championships for sure. A lot of those gold helmets.
Man, the last night there of his career when I was there sitting beside him for that whole year, and he sat there beside me in his full gear for like hours, knowing it was the end, and like he was crying, and I was like, yeah, and it hit home for me because I wasn't too far away. So then when I got to Cardiff and there was a couple games where like I thought that was it, it was like, holy shit, I'm Alfie now.
I'm Alfie now, yeah.
Yeah, no, it sucks getting out, right?
Yeah, I didn't have because I still thought I was going to play somewhere, try maybe again, and then it just ended. I was just like, I'm done. And
you never got to experience that last gold helmet like Alfie did, where you know it's the end, right?
No, I never knew it was the end. No. Now, I always thought I could play till 40, which is,
Oh, you definitely could have. You
you
could
know,
have played till you were 50 the way you played. I would see you beat up those little Danish boys. They had no chance against you.
I was just at the point, maybe one more year, but then you get, summer comes around and nothing's happening. And it's just like, okay, let's move on and do something else, right?
It's hard. That's I don't know. Like so as that yeah, I guess you do get there. So I got some random questions before we shut it down. Denmark, great hot dog game, don't they have?
Hot dogs,
Yeah.
those French hot dogs where they cut the bun and poke the hole in it.
It's like in a sock. Like they
Yeah.
put the hot dog in a sock. What
You
the
put
hell's
your,
that? Like how
you put
much work
your,
does that take to make that bud?
what did you get in yours? The mustard, ketchup, or remoulade?
I never got the remoulade. That's kind of weird.
It's almost like it's almost like a British cream. That British
It's
cream, but with
almost
a
like
relish,
mayonnaise, but with like a little
yeah,
something in it, right? A
little
little je ne
relish or
sais quoi.
something. Yeah, yeah.
So what'd you do?
What they do? What
Ketchup, mustard, or a remoulade?
ketchup and mustard?
You kept it real too. Did you get the dried onions on at least?
Occasionally.
Okay, next question. I got a few here before we shut down. So
I
hot
got
dogs. Denmark has the hottest hot dog game going, folks. If anybody doesn't know, you think you go outside the Sky Dome and they got the good stuff. Well, no, that's actually in Denmark, right?
I'd have to agree. Yeah, but Britain's got. I'd like to know how many full English breakfasts you ate and how many chip and bacon buddies you ate.
I was not into the breakfast and all that. No, no, no.
Oh,
I was more into hitting Chippy Lane in Cardiff where they sold the donair kebabs.
oh, there you go. Late night.
That's where I get hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good hot dog game in Denmark. I would like to discuss Kim and do you stay in contact with him? And is there any way you can send me his contact info to get him on the pod?
I do stay in contact with Kim. Kim and I drove to the rink every practice and 90% of the games for 6 years, basically.
Well, and he was like they're like yeah, he was I thought he was one of the best teammates I ever had. I thought he was a great captain. I thought he was a great person, and I wish I stayed in contact with him, and I don't know how to be in contact with him.
You don't know how to use social media?
No, apparently I don't.
I can get you Kim's contact details. Yeah, he's I stay in touch with him. There's quite a few people in the Sonderjyske area that I stay in touch with. There's
Well,
another
you
guy.
did live 8 years of your life there, sir.
At 7.5, 7.5.
Well, that's a long time, man. I did 6 years in Germany, and that was a long time. That was 4 years in one town. You had
Yeah.
7.5 in one town, and it's a little town.
Yeah, I got to figure out when to get back there actually in the next couple of years.
You really should because like you are Mr. Denmark and you're living in Calgary.
I'm
Calgary.
definitely not Mr. Denmark, but I'm definitely looking forward to going back, catching up with people like Kim and Soren and JJ and a bunch of the local guys that aren't playing anymore, right?
Oh man, those are the guys that it's all about, right? Like that's what keeps the thing going. JJ was a great dude. Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
fun to play with too.
Oh, you played with him? He was on the team?
Yeah, he was part of that. He scored an empty net goal for that first championship and climbed the boards and everything.
Oh, really? He was just the minor hockey coach when I was there.
Yeah, I think he played 15 or 16 years pro. He played a long time. Local Voyens guy, right? And one of Kim's idols growing up.
Really?
I don't know. Became following.
Probably.
Well, JJ never left that area, and neither did Kim, and right. So
no, like it's a beautiful area. They're great people. I really enjoyed my time there, and actually, like because I like small towns and like the way it was, and like you have that Hoot Day party at the start of the year where it's just a big party and the team gets to know each other. Like it was right up my alley. And then I wasn't asked back, you know.
So, for sure you weren't asked back. That's what happened.
I went in for my exit meeting. They said, great season. See you later. Good luck.
Thanks for the gold helmet.
Yeah. Second in the league in scoring, and we won the championship. But we're not going to offer you like not even 10% of what you made this year. We're not going to offer you anything. See ya.
What was that, Dan and Soren?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then I got Colby, who's like a 1-year-old, and I walk out of the arena and I think like I had done a good job. I thought I had done my job for the year, and I think I'm going to at least get an offer that I could take to my agent and be like, well, I got this. What can we go elsewhere with this, right? At least something. And they say, sorry. And she hits elite prospects, Brent Walton, unknown. And next thing you know, holy moly. You got a kid on the way, you got a 1-year-old, and you're like, I thought I did what I was asked to do this year.
But you ended up in Cardiff and had fun there, right?
I loved it. It was the best thing that ever happened was that I never went back there. I got more school and it was the best thing ever. But they won the next year. And then are they still good?
I think they're all right. Yeah, I don't think they win anymore. But I got a question about Cardiff. Did you play with Mr. Adams in Cardiff?
Gerard?
Yeah.
No, he was the coach the year before.
Okay.
And then went to Sheffield and then like was the coach for like half a year or something and did really good and then wasn't the coach or something.
He was my D partner in Sheffield. I quite enjoyed Jared Adams.
Every player and person I talked to in Cardiff really enjoyed him and they all had his back, and everything I heard in Cardiff, I never heard a bad thing about the guy.
You want a funny story about Jared?
I love funny stories.
That lockout year, we were playing Coventry, and I had a clean hit. I think it was against Ashley Tate or someone. And I look up, I look back, the goalie's covered the puck, Tate's up, and I forget everyone's names, but I look up and Wade Belak is charging in front of the net. So I grab the closest player, I take my gloves off and grab the closest player. And Jared fought Belak because I was too scared to. Fought Wade Belak, and I look over and I'm trying to get over there. Jared just put his head down and he went to the dressing room and I went to the penalty box, and then the intermission came and I go to the dressing room. I think it was in Sheffield or Coventry. And Jared was so mad at me because he was my D partner, because he knew what I did. He just sat in the trainer's room off to the side and was like, send Daryl in here, right? So he just put his head down because he had a shaved head at the time, and it was just all welts from Belak's knuckles. But he would do anything, and he was a great teammate and a great person. So he's another guy I would definitely like to have 2 ales with at a local pub, because I know he's still in Britain.
Oh man, no, I literally never heard a bad word about the guy, and every player that played for him liked him. Yeah, strange he's not a coach anymore in the game from what I understand, but it you know what I find having a podcast is I know the type of guys I want on from each team I was on, and there's a lot of guys still to come. But me, yourself, and I did not get enough time together that year.
Well,
I think
let's talk about how much sauna time we had. We had some serious heart-to-hearts in that sauna.
we did talk about it. You were the first person that told me that you were the person, and I'll never forget the sauna. We went in the sauna in the locker room. We're sitting there, and you said to me, you said, none of us will be back next year. I said, what's that? I'm like first in the league in scoring right now. And you're like, they don't want any of us back. They like having big, tough teams, and you and Corky are too little. And I was like, Huh. I guess I don't know what else to do. And then I go in for my exit meeting and they don't want me back after we win the championship. And I get my gold helmet and I'm like, well, Daryl knew everything. He knew everybody in this town.
Oh man, I forget that playoffs. Was it close? The finals?
Oh yeah, we won in game 7, man. We were down. We hadn't beat that team all year. We were first place. We could beat every team but Herning. And then the final started down. We were down 2-0. We hadn't beat them all year. And then all of a sudden we win 3 in a row. Then they win a game. And then it's game 7 at home in Sonderjyske.
Oh, because we finished ahead of them in the standings.
We were first. Yeah, we were the
First, yeah.
best. Yeah. And then we won it all game 7 at home. I think it was 4-0. And then they scored 2 goals late to make it 4-2. You don't remember any of it. Yeah, when you win so much, you don't even know what you're talking
I
about.
remember that was with spelling, you, Corky, Gatto.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Spelling was good, eh?
Spelling had a bit of a twisted wrister on him.
He could shoot it. Yeah.
He could shoot it for sure. He's still doing pretty good. I check once in a while.
So do you miss the game much or are you good?
No, I'm good. I follow the NHL for fun. I mean, I've had opportunity here in Alberta to get back in as coaching level in junior, but I don't want to ride a bus. I mean, it gets pretty cold here in the winter and the economy is not the best. And I am a business development professional. So I'd like to show up at work on time and, keep employment that way outside of hockey. But no, I played in the beer leagues here with, the Western Michigan Friends, Mills, and a bunch of ex-players. We played in, there's so many ex-hockey players here in Calgary. So we played in the top beer league and won the championship there. And I just don't want to play at 10:30 at night. And Calgary's pretty big. So I found myself, the games are at 10:30, drive across town, it's an hour. And when it's minus 40 and the wind's blowing sideways, and it's snowing, it's like I don't need to drive there when I got to go to work at 8. Plus, it's still pretty competitive because there's so many ex-players, right?
Oh.
So, no, I don't miss it at all. I enjoy actually being an armchair fan, watching this new brand of hockey. And I mean, the players now are, in the last 10 years, man, they're just all talent now.
Oh, they're so much better. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so quick and they're so fast. And I mean, yeah, it's changed so much.
But there's still guys, like there's still defensemen like you on every team. And like literally every 2-on-1 I took against you, I was like, why the fuck is this guy in Denmark? And like it's Corky and I, like literally 2 high-end offensive guys. And we could not get a puck to each other. And Alfie would know exactly you could not pass it across to the other guy if Daryl's on the 2-on-1. And Alfie could just square up to the shooter and be like, yep, I got it. Let's do it. And that's that.
And Alfie's angles were never off.
Well, and he knew exactly where every guy wanted to shoot. I remember how mad he would get at me in practice. It would be the end of the pregame skate and he would want some point shots. And he'd be screaming at me like, you're not shooting it hard enough. You didn't shoot it where I wanted it. And I'm like, why am I even doing this?
That's funny. Yeah, no, it's fun though. It's fun to still watch. I don't know if you watch on TV, but man, these pro guys now, they're totally different, right? And I even see it here in Calgary. Hockey's totally year round. When I played, even when I played pro, I summer trained, but I wasn't skating like crazy when I was not trying to, stay in the American League. Or when that dream was over, I'd keep myself in shape. And I knew I had a month-long training camp in Denmark or Germany somewhere anyways, right?
Well, what was the point of even putting on skates in the summer? Because you knew you had a month.
Yeah, man, the kids nowadays, they go like they take a couple of weeks off and then they do spring and summer and they're back into it, right?
I always needed a break. Like if you want to be full go and like fully committed and into it, I needed a break.
Yeah. No, so did I.
Do you got anything else for me before we shut down the donk episode?
I thought you'd be a little heavier. I thought you'd be more of a bowling pin than you are.
I know Dan Seaman told me that of all the guys that were going to leave hockey, I'd be the first one to put on 25.
You're
So,
about the same, man.
to be honest, it got real worse. It got a lot worse. It got real bad. It wasn't actually until this podcast that it changed. And I don't even work out. I just laugh. I just listen to you guys talk and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like this is what I want. And I'm just happier. I have more energy in the day because I wake up and I'm like, I got to do my real job. I want to prepare for this. I got to take care of the kids. And I have the energy I had as a hockey player again. Just in different areas of life, I guess.
And is Colby into the hockey?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Big time?
Well, he's gonna have some big tryouts coming up here in the fall. But yeah, no, he's into it, and he really, really likes playing. He's a lot like me. He really likes playing. I wouldn't say he's shooting a lot of pucks every day, but like he's asking me every day, like when hockey starts. I think he'll be more like not, yeah, it's tough because like you want them to practice a lot, but like I was not a practice a lot guy.
Yeah. No, that's funny. No, that's good. That's good. Do you keep in touch with you? So you don't keep in touch with anyone from Sonderjyske. What about the Cardiff folks?
Oh yeah, lots of Cardiff folks, Beatingheim, like Sonderjyske, like I was there for 1 year and like in 1 year you don't really build relationships where it's like lifelong. Like you and Kim played together for a lot of years in Alfie and you win championships. And like I did that one time with you guys, and I have that relationship with you one time from 1 year, but you
Yeah,
guys did that a whole bunch of times.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm trying to think how many years Alfie was there. Yeah, it's just a lot of us because Alfie was there quite a while. I mean, I think I was
But
definitely
you
there the
remember the
longest.
end, right? You remember the end, and Alfie was there at the end.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, yeah. But no, that's good. That's good. And what are you doing for work? You're
Um,
general manager, are you not?
no, no, I'm an engineering supervisor.
Oh, so that what structural engineers or mechanical engineers report to you?
No, not exactly. I'm doing the heat treatment part of it. Um,
Oh, okay.
I yeah, refineries and power plants.
So you're putting your studies at Western Michigan to use?
Well, I Western Michigan, like I basically took business and everything. But then I learned this later. So I take my business side of it and then work it in with what I'm doing now. So I do a lot of like estimating and stuff like for the company, that type of thing. But more I'm like the people person. I run a team and I make yeah, I run a team and I'm a people person and I don't know. I'm not really sure. I it's all good.
So how did you step into this role after Cardiff?
Oh,
How did you find this role when your
why
career ended?
what this I'm the host here, not you.
Oh, I'm just inquisitive. You know I ask a lot of questions.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I had a tough 6 months, really tough 6 months.
Okay, because I haven't caught up with you like when
Do
we're
you really
still
want to hear this? Because I don't know if like usually the stuff about me is after hours and we just talk about that after hours. You actually
okay. Let's do that after hours. I didn't
okay.
know there was an after hours segment, but I'm looking forward to it, bud.
Okay. Well, and this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with the Donk and Wally.